Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Everyday English Practice Podcast, the Easy English podcast where we learn English the way people actually use it in real life. I hope you're doing well today, and wherever you're listening from, at home, on a walk, or maybe while cooking, thank you for choosing to spend this time with us. And before we get comfortable and dive in, just one small thing. If you enjoy learning English with calm conversations, real examples, and zero classroom pressure, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. It really helps us, and it also means you won't miss future episodes like this one. All right, now let's slow down a little. Yeah, no rush today. Jack, how has your day been so far?
Honestly, one of those normal days. Nothing dramatic, nothing exciting. But sometimes those are the best days.
I agree. Quiet days are actually great for learning. Your mind is open and not stressed.
Exactly. And today's topic really fits that mood because it's something many learners think they understand but still feel confused about.
Yes, today we're talking about something you've probably heard many times while watching movies, reading stories, or listening to native speakers.
And that is would have plus a past participle. When learners hear sentences like, I would have called you or she would have helped, they often pause. They understand the words separately, but together it suddenly feels blurry.
And sometimes even a little scary.
Very true. Many learners tell us, I know would, I know have, and I know past verbs, but when they come together, my brain freezes.
So let's say this clearly right now. You are not weak in English if this feels confusing. You're completely normal. This structure is usually not taught properly at beginner levels. Then suddenly, when learners reach B1 or B2 level, it appears everywhere.
And no one really explains why we use it, only how. So in this episode, we're not just memorizing rules, we're understanding the meaning, the feeling, and the real-life use.
And one more important thing, in this episode, we're covering would have been, and how they work naturally in conversation. That's why this lesson is especially useful for B1 to B2 learners. If you're A1 or A2, don't worry. You can still listen and absorb the feeling. Think of it like listening to music before you learn the lyrics.
Nice example.
Thanks.
All right, let's begin gently. First question, Jack.
Go ahead. Okay, when you hear this sentence, I would have helped you, what do you feel?
I feel regret.
Exactly. That's the key emotion here. Would have often carries a feeling, not just information. It talks about a past action, but not a real past action. It talks about a past possibility that did not happen. Let's break that down slowly.
Yes, slowly, no jumping. Imagine yesterday your friend was moving to a new apartment.
Okay,
You wanted to help, but you were sick.
so I didn't go.
Right. Today you meet your friend and say, I would have helped you, but I was sick. That sentence tells us three things.
Yes. First, you wanted to help. Second, you didn't help. Third, there was a reason. This is the heart of would have. It's not about what happened, it's about what could have happened but didn't.
Many learners confuse this with the simple past.
Right. If you say, I helped you, that's a real action. But I would have helped you lives in an imaginary past.
A past that exists only in your mind. And in English, we use this structure to talk about regrets, missed chances, polite explanations, and reflections.
That's why this structure feels very human.
Yes, native speakers use it when they look back and think, if things were different. Let's look at another example.
Okay.
You would have passed the exam, but you got sick. So what does that mean?
It means you didn't pass, but you had the ability.
Exactly. The situation stopped you. This is important. Would have often shows ability plus condition. If the condition were different, the result would be different. Now let's talk about the form, but without pressure.
Yes, just understanding, not grammar fear. The structure is simple. Would plus have plus past participle. For example, would have gone, would have seen, would have done, would have helped.
In the past participle is the same one you use with have, like have eaten, have finished, have been.
Exactly. And that brings us to another common form, would have been. This one is extremely common in conversation. For example, it would have been amazing, meaning it wasn't amazing because it didn't happen. Or, that would have been nice. Again, a polite regret. English speakers use this a lot to sound soft, kind, and thoughtful.
Not aggressive, not blaming. That's why this structure is socially important.
Yes, it helps you express feelings without sounding harsh. Now, let's pause for a moment.
Good idea.
If you're listening right now and thinking, oh, so that's what it means, you're doing great. Don't try to memorize 10 sentences. Just understand the feeling. Now we're going to go deeper into daily life examples, common mistakes, and how learners often misuse would have. We'll also compare it gently with other structures so you don't mix them up.
And we'll practice with situations you actually face in real life. So before we go deeper, let's remind listeners where we are right now.
Yes, we've understood that would have is not about real past actions. It's about past possibilities that did not happen. And we talked about the emotions behind it, regret, reflection, and sometimes politeness.
Now, I think it's important we connect the structure to real-life situations people face every day.
Absolutely, because grammar only makes sense when you see yourself inside the sentence. Let's start with something very common, work and jobs.
Good choice. Many learners need English for professional life. Imagine this situation. You applied for a job. You prepared well, but on the interview day, you were extremely nervous. Later, when you think about it, you say, I would have answered better, but I was too nervous. That sentence is powerful.
Yes, because it shows you had the ability, but something stopped you. Fear, stress, pressure. Now, compare it with a sentence learners sometimes say incorrectly. I answered better, but I was nervous. That sounds confusing.
Because answered better means you actually did well, but in reality, you didn't. So would have answered better fixes the meaning. And that's why this structure is so important. It protects your meaning.
Now that we understand what would have and would have been really mean, this is the part where most learners feel stuck. Using it while speaking.
Yes.
Because understanding is one thing, but when the mouth opens, the brain suddenly goes blank.
Very true.
Many learners say, I know the rule, but when I speak, I panic. That panic is normal.
And today we're going to reduce that panic step by step. Let's begin with a very common speaking situation, missed opportunities. Imagine someone asks you, why didn't you join us yesterday? Many learners reply simply, I was busy. That sentence is correct, but it sounds a little flat.
Now listen to this instead. I would have joined you, but I had a family commitment. Do you hear the difference? The second sentence feels warmer. It shows intention and it sounds more natural in real conversation.
Now let's look at a mistake learners often make. They say, I would have joined you. This is very common because they forget the past participle. So remember the pattern. Would have plus past participle. Join to joined. Help to helped. Go to gone. See to seen.
If you remember this structure, half your problem is solved. Now let's bring this into real daily English life, not exam English. Imagine you're talking about health. You say, I would have exercised more, but I was too tired after work.
That sentence sounds real and honest. Now compare it to this incorrect sentence learners sometimes say. I would exercise more, but I was tired. That sounds confusing because would exercise describes a habit or a possibility, not a past situation. But here we're talking about the past, so would have exercised is correct.
Now let's move to family situations because people often talk about emotions there. For example, I would have called my parents earlier, but I got busy. This sentence carries emotion and honesty.
Now let's add would have been more clearly. Imagine someone asks, "How was the party?" And you reply, "It would have been fun, but I arrived very late."
Meaning the fun part had already finished.
Exactly.
A common learner mistake here is saying, "It would be fun, but I arrived late." That mixes time. English is very sensitive about time consistency, so always ask yourself, am I talking about a past situation that didn't go as expected? If the answer is yes, then use would have been.
Now let's practice something helpful for speaking fluency, thinking aloud. Instead of staying silent, you can say things like, "I would have said yes, but I needed more time to think." This keeps the conversation flowing.
Now let's talk about politeness in English, because this structure is extremely useful there. Imagine someone invited you somewhere, but you couldn't go. Instead of saying, "I didn't come," you can say, "I would have loved to come, but I had work." That sounds warm and respectful.
This structure helps you sound emotionally intelligent. That's why B1 to B2 learners really benefit from mastering it.
Now let's compare a few sentences. Listen carefully. I didn't help him. Just a fact. I couldn't help him. Shows inability. I wouldn't help him. Shows refusal. I would have helped him. Shows willingness, but no opportunity.
4 sentences, 4 completely different meanings. And this is why grammar is really about meaning, not rules.
Exactly. Now let's finish with a small conversation example. Imagine two friends talking about a weekend trip. Friend 1 says, "I missed the hike yesterday. What happened?" Friend 2 replies, "I would have invited you, but I didn't know your schedule."
Friend 1 says, "It would have been fun if I had joined." Friend 2 replies, "Next time I'll make sure to tell you. We would have all enjoyed it together."
See how natural that sounds?
Yes. Once you practice these phrases, they start feeling very natural. So friends, try using them in your daily life. Speak them aloud. Use them in simple situations. Don't worry about small mistakes. The goal is confidence and clarity.
And remember, these structures help you sound polite, thoughtful, and natural in English conversation.
Thank you for staying with us here on the Everyday English Practice podcast. We hope today's session really helped you understand would have and would have been in a deeper way. Keep practicing, keep listening, and most importantly, enjoy the process of learning English.
See you in the next episode. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.